백성과 하늘을 대신해 너에게 엄벌을 내린다. 사라지거라.
Yes, Queen!
7K Dreamer, please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be checking out Mythical Awakened Rin's remake in Arena, and we're jumping in straight into the matches. For Rin, she is actually very strong. Her remake is totally fitting for her, and I'm very happy that they decided to postpone her remake all the way till now. And yeah, you can really feel the strength that she has in her skill set. So you saw that she used her bottom skill just now, that actually deals 500% magic damage to 4 enemies, ignores defense, and also decreases their physical and magic attack by 60% for 3 turns. So it is a very strong skill, in fact even stronger than her top skill and awakened skill, because it actually has a very high multiplier, and I think her skill cooldown is actually okay as well. But the more important thing is her passive. So when you put her in the back row, she will give the entire back row decreased physical damage by 50% for 12 turns. So it actually just applies to the line that she is in. Okay, and if you have 4 or more magic allies on your team, she actually increases critical and lethal damage of magic and universal type allies by 50%. So this is the same skill that Fenrir has with his top skill, the one that applies the block nullification. So it's exactly the same and it will not stack. So if you have Fenrir and Rin on the same team and they apply that same buff, it will not stack. However, for Rin, it is a passive and it is not based on turn count, so it is much better than Fenrir. Furthermore, she also incapacitates offensive type enemies. Now you guys will be wondering what exactly is incapacitate again. Incapacitate is basically the capability to prevent survival on 1 HP, and that actually gets rid of all the survive on 1 HP jewels, also gets rid of immortality because Phi can no longer survive on 1 HP to go into immortal form. So it is a very powerful passive if you have 4 or more magic type allies. And because of that, I think she should be used more frequently. However, I don't really see her in the top 50 teams at all. Maybe just a handful of players are using her, and it's kind of sad. So I'm not too sure why that's the case, because I really think she is very strong. However, maybe, you know, just sometimes physical teams are still stronger than the magic teams because of Red Grid's passive that increases physical attack by 60%. Now so far we don't have a magic unit that is on par with that, so which means the damage that magic units deal are going to be a lot, not say a lot, but you know, lesser in comparison. Furthermore, offensive teams have very good buffers like Fenrir that increase lethal rate, but you know, in magic teams you don't have that. You can use School, but it's just lower as well, and School's skill set is not exactly very strong either. Okay, so that's the problem that magic teams are facing, that even though the units and synergy in the team is very good, I feel that the buffers now have not been made to be on par with the offensive team. Okay, and my Rin in both cases, both matches so far have been pretty active, which is very good. I actually gave her skill use chance to allow her to move, okay? If not, she will not really move, and I won't have a video for you guys. So I'm gonna talk about equipment right now. For my Rin in this particular team, she is actually on crit and lethal. She also has double HP and Isabella's evil eye, so that she will do more damage. And then she also has survive on 1 HP, which is very important for her. Crit and lethal rate increase and magic attack jewel increase. As I said, I use skill use chance, but you can use magic attack increase to further boost her damage capabilities. Unfortunately, she always gets cucked by Red Grid's isolation, so sometimes I just feel that it's so unfortunate that every time she has a skill ready, a very strong skill ready, I am unable to show it because she will definitely be isolated, which is the sad part of the whole thing. Okay, for her fighter, so I've given her defense increase, reduced damage from magic and offensive enemies, block rate increase, and status effect cast rate. So the point of the fighter soul is actually to make her more bulky, even though, you know, she is a magic hero, she is also like a glass cannon, but I'm trying to give her all the bulk she has so that she can still live a little longer. And over here she uses her awakened skill. As you can see, it is incredibly strong and can wipe out the entire team. Furthermore, she lands the burn. Okay, so the burn also takes off a huge chunk of damage from the enemy team. Now, just to talk about this team, it's actually a bulky magic team concept. Okay, the way I made this team was for Yeonhee to be the counter hero, and then we have Rosie here who reduces damage from 5 target AoEs. Wukong reduces 4 man target AoEs in the same row, okay, and then RIN also decreases physical damage taken for that same row. So the backline for my team should be pretty solid. However, I feel like I made a mistake by putting Wukong at that corner, because sometimes I realize that the 4-man skills that the enemy uses always targets the front 3 and the top hero. So Wukong being in the back line actually cannot fully showcase his passive capabilities. So I would say, you know, I would actually experiment putting him in the front line and go with a 3-4 formation. That way my front line could actually be much tankier than my back line, and the back line will have RIN to protect them. So these are things that, you know, you can play around with and consider depending on what you observe when you play the arena. So we have Wukong and Rosie, and then RIN as well. In general, RIN's role in the magic team is like a buffer now, not only boosting damage but defensive capabilities, and she herself hits so hard. But we also cannot forget the role of Sage as well as Red Grade. So Sage and Red Grade actually decrease crit and lethal rate amounts by a huge ton if they use their appropriate skills. This will also increase the bulk of your team because your enemy will be dealing far less damage to you. Okay, so that's one thing. And then Sage's passive also is able to decrease, you know, physical attack and defense of the enemies, so this allows you to hit much harder as well. So I think the synergy of the units here is really pretty good. Even Freya here is able to increase crit damage, and unfortunately does not stack with RIN. Okay, that's something for you to note, but she does reduce status effect resist rate of my enemies, so I can land status effects much better, especially for Yeonhee, because Yeonhee has the blind, so I really want her to land the blind and to really cripple the enemy team in so many ways. So there are many ways this team kind of works, and I really like how everything goes together, as expected from magic teams basically, because I think magic teams always have that very good synergy in terms of their skills. And unfortunately in this match we have to deal with a very annoying Judas. Judas is just a very unfortunate enemy to face when he is all the way at the end, and it is because of 7v7 that allows, you know, immortal heroes like Judas to stay alive. Sometimes I even think, you know, why not put RIN with Zahara and a Pentagon member, and what do we get? Can we actually destroy, you know, immortal heroes for good? This is the next team I use. I actually just swapped out Wukong for Fenrir, but the whole team's mechanics actually changes. So this is definitely more offensive in nature, and with this setup you actually give your units more crit rate because Fenrir can make up for the missing lethal rate. But before that, for the Wukong team, you actually have to mix crit and lethal on your heroes to try to get the most maximum output. As you see, the damage before was not very high, but I want you guys to compare it to this team right now, this damage output. So later you guys will see a significant increase in RIN's output when she deals damage on the enemies, okay? So I won't call this a bulky team at all. I'll go with more offensive magic in a way. Even boosting, you know, Sages, Yeonhee's, Freya's, all of their damage output is just significantly increased due to the presence of Fenrir. So Yeonhee is gonna use her Awaken skill here. As you can see, she is a speed leader. Okay, she is a speed leader with 10% crit and 10% lethal only, and that kind of damage came out. So I don't know where she get the crit from, but it is what it is, especially with RIN actually boosting crit and lethal damage. So that is a very significant boost in the damage from Yeonhee. So RIN is gonna use her top skill now. 800,000. Now you realize that this is a significant increase from what we saw earlier in the first team, right? So there's a very obvious presence and a benefit that Fenrir can bring, and I actually believe that this team is slightly better than the previous one because of Fenrir. After all, the damage output is something that you really want to see from magic heroes, especially RIN, who is so, I don't know, her skill set is just crazy with very high multipliers right now. So survival wise, I think it's still pretty alright. My frontline is extremely tanky, especially from physical attacks. Okay, because they all mostly reduce damage taken from physical attacks. Except Red Grid, I think she reduces damage from magic, but it's totally fine because she's super well decked in terms of block. So her block rate as well as Rosie's block rate are all very high, almost 80 to 100% block rate. Okay, so they can survive for a very long time. And I did spend a long time with this team. I think I recorded a footage of an hour, so you can really tell that, you know, this is a very solid team in my opinion. Over here, RIN uses her bottom skill first. Now, usually in this early stage of the match, if she uses her skill, she's gonna get walled by all the Guardian Rings, and it won't do a lot of damage, of course. And just to touch on something else which I have constantly forgotten, how do you use RIN in 5v5? Now, I think some players are very keen on using RIN because her skill set is insane. In a 5v5 context, you are going to use 4 other magic heroes, including RIN. So I would strongly suggest you use RIN, Yeonhee, Sage, Reginlave, or you know, you can use Freya, and then the last one could be Rosie, or you can go with Red Grid. Now, if you go with Rosie, I think your team will be a lot more synergized, a lot tighter in terms of buffs and bulk, because Rosie can really help to cleanse and heal, and she also reduces damage from universal heroes, and she also buffs your team's magic attack, which RIN no longer can do. Okay, and RIN in turn can provide the physical damage reduction, which in fact most of the magic heroes on the team can already do so themselves. So I don't think they stack, in fact, and I think, you know, in that case, their passives are superior to RIN. However, RIN really has the ability to incapacitate offensive type enemies, so that will really help a 5v5 magic team. Okay, it's more tight, and then you probably get higher chance to have RIN's attack as well. Now over here, we are facing a very unique enemy, and he is using the Death team. His Death team is even better than the one I used yesterday, which was kind of like a hybrid team. This is a really pure Death team with Yeonhee, Chris even, and then we have Nox and Judas, who are all Death heroes, and Gerard here. So she put my whole team to sleep almost, and the Death killed off 2 heroes. So this Gerard is very good for proccing the Death, and also countering with Death, and also using his Awakened skill with Death. So I think my Freya is gone right now. Yeah. And he also landed Death on 2 of my heroes. So it was pretty unfortunate, but thankfully I cleansed it by turn 4. I killed the Gerard, and then the Chris comes and inflicts death on me and kills my Sage, and Nox kills my Sage. Yeah, so his team is very tight. I was amazed, and I just, you know, I had to put this video here. And I'm very happy to have met him actually. He also has Eileen. And yeah, Eileen completely shut down my team, unfortunately, and Wukong as well. So he runs a universal team, a universal death team, which is very different from a lot of people, and that's very good. Finally here, I think we're back to a standard team and standard enemy. 0 damage because of Guardian Rings. So my overall feel for RIN is that I think she definitely got the remake that she deserves, and magic teams definitely have a fighting chance right now with RIN, because she is such a powerhouse to have on the team. Especially with that kind of passive that buffs allies, not just magic heroes, but you know, also universal heroes. I think the teams you can come up with can be very strong. I think it's a bit hard to observe the incapacitation, but just know that, you know, when you actually kill off an enemy right now, an offensive type enemy, and chances are they will die because their survive on 1 HP rings will not be proccing, so it's kind of like a dead jewel on their part. Yep, so that's kind of a good thing. You make runs a lot easier and faster for yourself if using RIN. And my Sage did huge damage there, which was amazing. I still love Sage a lot, and I'm really glad to be using him again. Long time no see. Red Grid did a lot of damage here too, so she reduced the damage, the crit and lethal rates. But thank goodness the Wukong was isolated. Yep, so there we go. RIN still surviving really well. So let me know what you guys think of RIN, and if you have tried her in Arena, what tier of Arena do you think she is the best in? And leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more guys. Thank you so much and see you.